Multi-view drawing 4, page 123, 9 drawings. We're working on the adjustable stop drawing. There's the JPEG drawing there. You click on it, let's open up the picture of it. There's a short explanation from last week. If you need a fuller explanation, that's what I'm doing here. So let's go to the drawing. So, as I said, figure 5-71, adjustable stop. And we're drawing this 1:1, full scale. All right, we know A to B is 10 inches. B to C is 1 3/8. B to C is 1 3/8. We know the C to D is 3 1/4. We know the D to E is 1 7/8. 1 7/8. E to F is 2 inches. E to F is 2 inches. F to G is 2 1/2. F to G is 2 1/2. Give the G to find the center of this slot here. We go from G to H, 2 1/2. So the whole thing is 5 inches tall. We go to F to H, which says 5 inches right there. We added that up ourselves and found out it was 5 inches. So H to J is 2 1/2. J to K is 5. And so we know the other side is going to be 2 1/2 as well. We know that L is 1 inch. It's a 1 inch diameter, 2 holes. It creates a slot all the way down. We know that M is 1/2 inch radius. M is here, 1/2 inch radius. N is 1 1/4 radius. Talk about this circle here. We know that A to O is 2 inches, and P is 1 1/4. So this is 1 1/4 here. We know that Q is 1 1/4, and your slot is 1 1/2 inches wide. So the slot here is 1 1/2 inches wide, and your slot up here should be 1 1/2 inches wide too. So let's go ahead and start on our drawing. And what I'm going to do, whereas we've been drawing, this is our front side, everything pointing toward the left is our front side. Your bigger view, your most interesting view is your right side view. And so I'm going to turn that around and make that my front view. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. And I'm going to go ahead and download that template real quick. My multi-view drawing template here. It's got all my layers there. I'm going to go in here, go ahead and set my construction line as my 0, 0 point. Turn on my ortho. Get my construction line again and set my horizontal 0, 0 point. Then go back to my drawing example. I'm going to start here with this N, this H to J or N to K. We know that H to J and N to K are basically the same size. All right. So what I'm going to do, I know H to J, which is right here, 2 1/2. I know 2 1/2 plus 5 plus 2 1/2, right? So I'm going to just draw a line 10 inches long. I'm going to draw it out 10 inches. Draw a little flag up. Just going to hit a little flag there. Get back to my drawing example here. I know H, F to G, G to H. We know that's basically 5 inches. We know F to H is 5 inches because it tells us right there it's 5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset that line that I've drew 5 inches. Type in 5. Put it up here. And then I'm going to draw I'm actually going to use construction line here and draw a line straight up. Now get back to our drawing here. I know at this 2.5 inch mark here, there's a line that comes through there that sets our center for our slot. All right. So I know that. So let's go ahead and set our center line there. So I'm going to set that line. I'll set that. I'm actually going to offset it as a construction line. I'm going to go at 2.5 or 2.5. Set it. And I know coming from H to J is my first dimension for my hole there. H to J is 2.5. H to J is 2.5. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that 2.5 inch marker. 2.5. Draw a little flag up. So I can zoom in there. Oh, wait a minute. Something got off there. Evidently my line didn't snap there. So I'm coming in 2.5, 2.5. Draw a little flag up there. Now I'm going to get back here to my drawing example. I know that hole, we know that L is 1 inch diameter. We know the slot is 1/2 inch wide. So we know this is 1/2 inch diameter, and this slot here is 1/2 inch diameter. So let's go to the drawing. Get our diameter tool. 1.5. And what I'm going to do is offset this circle here 5 inches. Not wrong way. Be easier to copy it. Easier to offset that line first. And then copy my circle. I don't want to offset the circle. I just want to offset I don't want to copy that circle. Yeah, the circle gets sort of funny when you go to offset it. It wants to offset using the same center, so that doesn't work. And I just hit just jumped off that. Now I can draw that line on the bottom, but guess what? Why don't we just do it this way? Just mirror it. And tell it, no, we don't want to erase that source line. Then we're going to go back to our drawing example. And then that 5 inches goes up to that corner. And then that corner, on top of that corner, we're going to see C to D. It's 3/4 inches above that. So we got to go to there. So what I'm going to do, instead of just drawing that line up, I'm just going to offset that 0.75. And you can come back here and draw these lines in on your construction lines, or you don't have to. As long as your object lines are attached, that's all that really matters. Your construction lines are there just to help you get that drawing done. All right. So let's scoot over here. Oh, I got to finish the radiuses down here. Now again, you don't have to do this on both sides. You don't have to do it on your construction lines and your object lines. But I just want to remind you that N is 1 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and hit my radius tool. And of course, I don't have a regular line there. I've got a construction line, so I have to draw my line straight down. On both sides. If I was doing this as an example here, I would probably not draw it on my construction lines. Draw it on my object lines. All right. Try this for a third time here. Third time's always a charm. My computer was being a little silly here. 1.25. Now, that is your construction line layer for that front view, except for you got hidden lines that are going to be showing up through here. Now, let's go ahead and move up to the top and do that one next, because it'll be much easier once we get that done to bring our hidden lines down. I'm going to take that line and offset that 2 inches above. Get back to my drawing example. I know that B to C is 1 3/8. D to F all right, so we're going to have to do it this way. Use my calculator. So I know that B to C is 1 3/8 or 1.375. Plus D to E is 1 7/8, which is 1.875. Plus E to F, which is 2 inches. So we're looking at 5 1/4 inches there from F to B, 5 1/4. So I'm going to offset that line 5.25. And there it is. Now, looking at your drawing example again, I know that B to C is 1 3/8. So I'm going to offset that back line forward 1.375. And I'm going to offset that back. That's where we put C, which would be coming down to the edge of D. I'm going to offset that D to E, that distance, D to E with 1 7/8. So I'm going to offset that line here 1.875. Not 1.85, 1.875. And then, looking at your drawing, we know that L is 1 inch diameter. There's two holes here. There's two holes in the top. It's not a slot, but it's two holes. One is 2 inches. It's 1 inch diameter with two holes. So we're going to draw two holes there. But we got to find the location of those. And they're at the same distance as J and K as centers. So we know H to J is 2.5. So let's come up here and come down from the end. 2.5, 2.5. All right, we're coming over here for 2.5. Coming over here 2.5, 2.5. That's 5. We could come back from this end 2.5 and this end 2.5. Or what I basically did is I offset this one, came over 2.5 and offset that one 5, which would make this 2.5 to this end. So let's go back to our drawing example and make sure what our circle is on this top up here. We know that L is 1 inch diameter. There's not a slot there, just a hole. A 1 inch diameter hole. So 1, 1, and now we have you got to show the thickness here of that object here. Because we know that object here is thickness of P. It's 1 1/4. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I could do that off of my right side, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it off the front view because I know that's going to be 1 1/4 down from that. So 1.25 down this way. And then I'm going to do my construction line down to the center here. Now the construction line here. Oh, there we go. Now, I know I can offset that line 1/2. 0.5. The outside. 1/2 to that side. 1/2 to that side. And 1/2 to that side. That's a 1 inch hole. There's no slot in the top, but it's a 1 inch hole. All right. Let's look at our drawing example again. That's pretty much all of our features for our top view and our front view. Now let's go to our right side view. Get your construction line here. Pull that over this way. I'm going to take and offset this line here 2 inches. Just 2. Now you notice this object is really, really big compared to anything we've drawn before. All right. So let's go back to our drawing example because I want to know how far to offset the whole thing here. From the front edge to the back, we got F to E, D, that's 5. Got E to F is 2. We got D to E is 1 7/8, and B to C is 1 3/8. So let's go back to our calculator again. That's 5 1/4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this backwards 5.25. If you look at the drawing example, I know I'm going to offset that front line on the left, the distance of Q, 1 1/4. So I'm going to offset this one in 1.25. Then I'm going to get my another construction line right here and draw this line right there. Now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start my object line layer. I don't want to do that. I just want to go to my layer and change it here. Get my circle tool, 1 inch. And 1 inch. Get your line tool again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch that line straight down. And that way I don't have to make that arc. I can just do I just use my fillet tool. I'm going to offset. I could offset that line 3/4 of an inch again, but I'm not going to do that. It's just about as easy for me. Let's just sit here and attack the drawing itself. I'm going to start center in. Start center in. Start center in. I'm going to go to my hidden line layer. Then I'm going to go back to my radius tool, back to my object line layer. Go back to my drawing and remind myself of what the radius of that is. So we're going to N, which is 1 1/4. Radius, 1.25. Radius again. Hit enter because you're going to lock in that 1.25. All right, so that's your front view and your top view, except for your hidden lines coming through here. So let's change it to your hidden line layer. And what I'm going to do is offset this line up here. I don't want to change the line. I just want to change. So I want to hit escape. I want to offset that line 0.25. up. And I'll set this one down 0.25. And that way my hidden lines here and my center lines get drawn there. And then I'll go back and work on my right side view. So I'm going to hit escape, get my center line tool, center line tool here. And now I'm going to finish up our right side view. Now that I can see those lines, I know this line has got to come forward for that backside. It's got to come B to C. It's 1 3/8 or 1.375. I know this has got to come forward 1.375. And let's go to our object line layer. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just block this in real quick. Actually, I'm going to hold on to doing that line just a second. I'm going to bring this line down for the thickness of that, because we know the thickness of that top, that's P, is 1 1/4. So I'm going to go down 1 1/4 with that. 1.25. I'm going to go here with my object line layer. And mark that all the way around. Now, this line, this circle of this slot coming through here, you're just going to see it as hidden lines. And I need to remind myself of what that measurement is. We know that the slot is 1 1/2 inch wide, right? Slot says 1 1/2 inch wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset that line from that point, 0.75. 0.75 to the top and 0.75 to the bottom. And then I know that that hole is directly in the center of this point here. Now, what I'm going to do, I know this is 5 1/4. I'm going to offset that line 5 point, or let's see, give me a second. Let's divide that by 2 to make it a whole lot easier than trying to do it in my head. 2.625, or basically 2 5/8. 2.625. I'm going to come off with that offset 1/2, 0.5. 0.5. Now all I got to do is my hidden lines. Go up here and draw my hidden lines in. Hidden lines in. Draw my hidden lines in here. Draw my hidden line in here. Now from the ends, that's going to look like a rectangle from this slot here. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to offset that line 1/4 inch to the front to make it easier to get my center line in there. Offset this one 1/4 to the back. And now, and I need to get backwards on that one because it set it to the wrong side. Sorry. .25. Now I'll change it to my center line layer. Get my line tool. Actually, I need to offset that line too. I forgot all my lines I need to change. Now we go to get our line tool. Move our drawing around a little bit. I need to draw the hidden line there. I need to draw that offset 0.25 to make it easier on myself. Gotta go backwards. All right, now change it to back to our center line layer. Now I got one other place I need to change here. According to what the drawing looks like, but let me go ahead and turn my construction line layer off. That way I'm not killing myself by looking at it. This is the last place we've got to change. M is a 1/2 inch radius. So let's go back to our drawing. Let's go to radius. This is R, 1/2 inch, 0.5. And there you go. Now, that's the drawing complete. And we just need to make sure we're complete with all the dimensions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it around and dimension it. Not with this center line, though. I'll need to go to my dimension lines. Get to my dimension lines here. Your dimensions give it to you from here to your center line. So what I'm going to do is turn my construction lines back on just so I can dimension to my construction line. Then I'll turn those back off. So we're going from here to here. Remember, we chained those dimensions by clicking them at the same point. We know that circle diameter is 1 inch. We know this one is 1 inch. We know your dimension. Let me turn those construction lines back off now. I think that's all I need those construction lines for, is for that dimension. We need this dimension here. We need this dimension here for your overall height. Hold on. You do need the construction lines back on. I'm sorry. You need this construction line for that one. And we'll move this up here. Dimension that. We're going to dimension this from, we know this line to this line, or this point to this point, was 5. We know from this point to this point here, you need to know this radius here, because they give it to you in the example. You need to know this radius here. And then I'm going to turn my construction lines back off. We'll change it to my object layer. Now, if you want to make your dimensions bigger, just go to dim style. This is the largest drawing we've done. Modify. Your text, you see your text height is 3/16. Let's change that to 5/16. Your primary units are fractional. That's what they should be. Hit OK. Then close. Now, what we may have to do is go back in here and change some of our dimensions and how they're set up there. So you may have to change this one by pulling it all the way, well, delete that one. Don't use your object line layer to dimension with. Need to mention that from the other direction there. I guarantee you. Yep, that's going to work. Now, these dimensions are a little close compared to what they need to be, so we're going to drag them out just a little bit. And so Want those to line up there. Now, that's all your dimensions on that drawing. I'll be walking around to check on your drawings, so get them done.